for attendance.
Donald Stasko.
Rich Fitzpatrick.
Dan Duffy.
Kevin McGregor.
Melissa Brown.
Glenn Pratt. Nate, you there?
Nate here.
Okay, great. Thank you. All right, good morning, everyone. So today,
Right, try camera on.
today, we're gonna get an update on Elm Street that Amy and Paul have been working on. So Dan, do you want to start with something?
Yeah. One of the, after we met the last time and kind of, indicated with, from the manager and the group to shoot for February, special town meeting. I just wanted to demonstrate it can be done. Obviously the tasks will change and as we move forward, but it certainly is doable to get there and get all the target points. I gotta populate the subcommittees you created once they get started and figure out how to intertwine them within the schedule, but from a logistical standpoint, we should be able to get this done for the February town meeting, and you know, the majority of the work completed by Christmas time, and really just talking finances beyond that. As long as everybody keeps moving forward and makes decisions and we don't go back and revisit things 5 times, we should be okay.
Okay, so the first thing to do to get on schedule is have our update on Elm Street. So is that you, Paul?
Some things, PowerPoint presentation. You see if you're on person. I can drive if you want me to. I will absolutely have you drive. You know it.
Never rains in that, it's always sunny.
All right. So we started by, got handouts too. Let me put it in the handouts. Okay. So we started out with having a look at the program again that we did for the police and fire departments. And we sat down with Chief Quigley and went through the program and made reductions where we could. The document that we're handing out to you right now shows the previous program that was done in 2024 and the rooms and the areas, and then the updated numbers, and everything that's highlighted in yellow is what has changed from the previous program. We also did a similar study with the fire department during our last redesign effort, where we had a look at the 2024 numbers and compared them to what they could possibly reduce in 2026. And that's going to be handed out just a moment as well. Same thing, everything that's changed was highlighted in yellow. So some of the things that came out of that, looking at the numbers.
Excuse me, Paula, we can't actually see the PowerPoint remotely.
Uh-oh, thank you.
Escape.
What do I have to do?
Hit escape.
I think you're upper right hand corner.
I think you're on the right track. Don't listen. Just then, right here, click on that one and then share. Share.
Hold on a moment.
Can you see that?
Yep, thank you.
Okay.
What did you do?
She's got a different screen than what's up here. She's,
Oh, gotcha.
Okay, I think we all can see everything now. So this is kind of a summary of the program. So the police department in 2024, the required space that they needed was 19,000 square feet. The updated one in 2026 is now 17,244 square feet. The fire department in 2024 was 17,155 square feet, and that was a combination of the spaces at Elm Street and what we were proposing at King Street. And now the 2026 number is 15,408. So going back and looking at the Elm Street property to try to address the charge of accommodating both departments in the existing facility, all on ground level without adding any additional floors. We had a look back at a study that was done in 2024 when we first started on this project, and it was an assessment of the 4462 Elm Street. And some of the items that were noted in that report was first, that the building's not accessible. There are a number of areas around the building that do not meet current accessibility code, and there's no accessible parking on the site. The site also has historic groundwater intrusion problems. The basements in both departments, but particularly the police department, I think, floods regularly. There was some remediation work done with that, but the director of DPW requested that any work that's done to this building that we put in a trench drain around the perimeter to try to mitigate any future flooding problems in the basement. The other issue is the soil type is currently unknown, and we know that there is ledge. The DPW director had told us that there is ledge on the northwest side under the parking. So any expansion out that way would have to deal with that. And the soils that is on the GIS report, we can't be certain of because of the additions and renovations that have been done to the building since it was initially built has disturbed the soil. So we're not exactly sure what's down there. So that would have to be studied. Also, the existing sewer capacity is not known. There is a sewer in the street, but there hasn't been any investigation yet into the size and the capacity or what the treatment facility can handle, because we know we ran into some of those issues and we're investigating that for King Street. The other issue with this building is currently the floor drains just charged to surface drainage, which is a code violation. Initially, they had been draining into a tank that's on site, but at some point it had been bypassed and now it's connecting directly to surface drainage. Some of the other zoning issues that we'd be coming up against if we tried to do any expansion is that it's already an existing non-conforming. Yes, non-conforming condition. And I'll show you this on the next couple of slides, but it exceeds or it protrudes into the setbacks that are required at the front and the east sides of the building. And the building as it is right now already exceeds the maximum percentage that a building can cover a site in this particular zone. And any modifications or additions that we do to the building would have to go to the zoning board for appeals and relief for that. So this is a quick kind of look that we did at the site, kind of showing the various constraints that we have to deal with. The first is this red line here, which is the setbacks that are required. The other is this blue line for the west side that is right-of-way easement and utility easement. All the gray areas are paved areas currently. The green areas are landscaping. They sort of need to remain because we have a lot of utilities at the front of the street and connections here. And really, with the setback, there's no possibility for expanding to the east at all. The yellow areas are areas where we could potentially expand the building. And I will show you on the next slide. This is sort of a simpler block to show you kind of the areas that we're looking at. Currently, the fire department occupies this much of the existing building footprint. Police department occupies that much. And those are the existing square footages that are associated with these areas that we're depicting. So for a total of 11,163 square feet. These are the updated program needs for a total of 32,652 feet.
Does the 11,000 and change include the yellow or just the red and blue?
No, it's just the existing footprint right now. So per the programs that we went back and revised for the 2026, these are the required spaces that are needed for both departments.
So in theory, if we were to do, if King Street was to be for the police, this is saying that we're still short 4,000 square feet with police and fire combined for just fire,
Yes.
Unless you use the yellow area, which.
unless we start building in the yellow area. We're
Exactly.
already at a deficit in terms of square footage,
Exactly. And in the,
which isn't the message we were delivering before. I just want to be clear about where we're at and what we're messaging.
yes, because that square footage for the fire department in the previous plan was accommodating most of it here, but relying on King Street to take.
5,000 feet. King Street.
Yeah,
So when you take the total number of fire needs, it included King.
do you have a question?
Okay, we just take the fire department's requirements, which is 15,408. If the police department's not there and the yellow area is potential expansion, will that meet the 15,408?
Let me get to my next. So this, if we're allowed to build out all of this yellow area, just
Right.
completely maxing out the site, we could have a possible total area of 17,000 square feet.
Okay,
So it would address the fire department needs.
but we lack parking.
We lose parking and I can't guarantee that this area would accommodate the second ambulance. And that's mostly because of vehicle maneuvering. The fire trucks and the ambulance need wider
Right.
radiuses to make turns and things. So this area is buildable. I don't know that we could necessarily get the ambulance on site. So that would have to be developed in the future. And then let me, make sure I'm not missing anything. So here is just a quick look at the total required program area, the maximum available area that we could build out on the site, and the spatial deficit of 15,000.
But we could get back to the 15,000 square feet and use the other 2,000 for turnaround areas for fire trucks of the yellow areas.
Maybe, and
Maybe.
that would have to be.
But then we
studied.
have groundwater, we have a lot of other issues
Yeah.
dealing with the site.
Oh, yeah.
And ledge.
And
somewhere.
ledge.
As well as the maximum efficiency of the addition on the structure that's already there, which is, you got,
Okay,
once you start laying it out, it's the, 15,000 becomes a greater number. This exercise was the exercise you guys asked us to do. I think it was, Selectman Ashton asked to see if it would fit on the site, and the two uses do not fit on this, not even remotely close to fitting on the site.
so one other question. Your pinked hashed area,
Yes,
that is putting everything on that site? Okay. Just for purposes with the public, can we highlight that whole area? All pink or whatever, or different,
I can do something to show that it's encompassing,
right,
like,
okay.
basically the entire.
That,
But that's not even on, that's not the lot. That's somebody
know.
else's property.
no, it's not on the lot.
This is just to show,
Yeah.
this is the full area that would be required
Correct.
for the police
Right.
department. This is the full.
But
area.
I understand that, Don, but we don't even own the land, so it's
Right.
just a decade.
It's showing it's.
I think John's saying, we want to.
People are asking that
You can't put
question.
10 pounds into a 5-pound bag, so
Right.
that's, yeah,
Yeah.
as long as it's clearly demonstrated.
Right.
Yeah, so graphically, we can make that stand out. a
Okay,
little.
I'm just saying, they're asking the question, what if you put it on
Yeah.
all the land? Okay, we'll show you. We don't own it. Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
So, hold on, Paul.
Oh, yep.
So, no, just Glenn, you may know this, housing for the elderly, is that state or is that Cohasset land?
I think the town owns the land, but the state owns the
The
buildings.
buildings, okay, yep, so that's another agency we have to deal with, because the state runs what's on the land.
Well, plus it cuts off the driveways. so
Yeah,
it
yeah,
doesn't-
yeah.
Well, you also have permitting issues too.
Yes,
I
correct.
mean, the fact that we have a pre-existing non-conforming structure means we're intensifying the pre-existing non-conformity by adding to the back of the building. Even though the non-conformity is on the front and the side of the building, it still intensifies the use.
Well,
And that would be a fun zoning board hearing.
That's a short one night hearing and they'll vote no right away. Don't be late.
the last thing I was gonna point out, Chief Dockery, is if we put an addition at the back, as we're showing, and take advantage of this, it means that the apparatus space would only be one-sided. You couldn't have a drive-through. So that's something else to
Yeah,
consider
because
as well.
the other two is have to hold sweat path analysis for all our apparatus.
Mhm.
So, and that's gonna show, it's gonna be,
Yeah, and that will dictate the buildable areas on the
Right.
side, just the movements of the fire department vehicles.
apparatus.
So this next slide, I think I want input from Dan just to make sure that I made the correct assumptions here. So today was to assess the Elm Street kind of capabilities or capacities in light of the 5 charges from the select board that we provide adequate police office space, modern prisoner cells in Sallyport, safe employee fitness areas, decontamination showers with fire department, and indoor space for the second ambulance. And hopefully, by the end of this meeting, that may be too much to hope for. Should we proceed with diagrams for King Street? And that's a direction we need to get from the committee.
So our goal was to achieve what the selectmen had asked for, which was to prove that Elm Street doesn't work. And that we also don't have an appropriation to Elm Street. So what we've done on Elm Street, it has basically been done with a scrap of undesignated money that the town manager had come up with. So we're hoping that we can put Elm Street in the can for now and move forward. And if you don't like the graphics, or you think the graphics need to be sharpened for presentation, I think that would go to your committee that's doing outreach. But the decision on Elm Street, we're hoping to get passed today so we can focus on 135 King. That was the goal today, was to start working on 135 King. And part of working on 135 King, which was the second piece to which the board had asked us to do, was to meet with the police chief and to try and tighten up as much as we can the program for the police. We know that the optimum program was the one we presented to the meeting, but the town meeting wanted it smaller. So that's where the program shrinks down from the 2024 to 2026.
And those square footage, like the amended, the 19,000 down to 17, how would you define that 17,000 as the minimally viable space for this force at this time?
I would say so, just my discussions with Chief Quigley, and he'd be able to answer the questions better than me, but going through it together, I think all of the spaces that are in there.
We just shrunk, there's definitely not as much room.
Yeah.
Offices are smaller, emergency operations centers, well, the gym has been basically cut. It's not great, but, the end of the day, we're a police department, we need cells and.
I'm not a fan of the minimally, like.
No.
So I want to be, if I'm answering to somebody saying, what does this number mean? A professional, working with a professional has said this is the minimum.
It's not a good idea.
Yeah.
This lower number is not a good idea.
Yep.
But if it's gonna get moving in the right direction.
Yep.
We're gonna have to sacrifice and I guess deal with it years to come.
I hope there's an opportunity to present that this is the bare minimum we could do if we agree as a town that we should do the bare minimum that's not really allowing for expansion. Or maybe we should go back to thinking that 17 is a smart number and we shouldn't be doing the minimum. I hope that conversation
agree
can
with
happen.
Okay, can we let's just finish with Elm Street. So it's clear after a second look that Elm Street does not work for both everything. So everybody agree with that? So we move that off the table now. Okay.
Is Selectman Ashton on?
I don't know.
I can't see him.
No.
No.
Right, I just want him to make sure he sees it, was his
Well,
request.
Yeah, we'll make sure.
And you guys have sent it to it, you know, I don't wanna come back to it. We don't have time to go back and forth on some of these decisions. We really need to say, okay, I'm sure that we want to move on.
But and not to literally go back, but if we go back to that other slide. Does the, if Elm Street is just the fire, does it work?
It could work for everything with the exception of the second ambulance. We'd have to, be certain that the second ambulance.
And if we took the second ambulance out of the equation for Elm, would Elm Street need an addition?
I personally don't think so, but.
But that's what, I think that's a big part of the story here that we've got to,
Well, I think
Right,
that has to be explained. I think you're on the right track.
Yeah.
right, what's the tipping point here, right? The vehicles are the biggest tipping point, because
They're not making them any smaller.
it's either in or it's out.
Mhm.
It's not a half. So I think that needs to be examined closely so that we go into this conversation, at least being confident that fire works in this scenario by itself. And if it doesn't work completely with the second ambulance, we exactly identify what component doesn't fit there.
I think for us to get your answer definitively, I think professionally, everyone in this room knows that we can make that work. But to get it definitively and defendable, that 150,000's got to be released. Whether you do it at a special or reallocate it, we just don't have the ability to lay all those spaces out and make it work. But having been working on it, I think Paula, you know, you can agree that it'll probably work on that in the space that's there. It's just gonna be a lot of rework in that building.
You're talking about the fitting the apartment in the existing footprint.
Less ambulance too.
I don't know that that's possible. I think even to fit the fire department over here, you're gonna need an addition, because if we don't get the fire department substation spaces at King Street and assume that those all have to be accommodated here also, I think you're gonna need an addition here.
Well, it was the vehicle that was the tipping point.
But see, this is, and I respect that we may not answer this right now in this meeting, but that we've got to be, and that's what we have to answer. Because that's gonna, as soon as we answer the question of police not fitting on this campus with fire, the exact question after that is, does fire fit?
Right.
And
I would
presume, and I'll just go out on a limb,
bet my life on it that it'll fit.
and I'll go out on a limb and say, when we presented this at the last town meeting and election, the premise was fire was going to fit here, less the ambulance.
Right.
And so now it's just as a cautionary tale, this is us. Oh, well, as we examined it, it's not quite fitting.
Well, no, but we're gonna move a truck up here.
You're
Right.
gonna have to move a vehicle. up
Right, the
here
truck was
to
coming
fit.
up
Truck
here.
was coming.
I hear you, but
But if we don't move a truck up.
but not everybody at
we
the
need an
table is
addition.
exactly
We need an
agreeing
addition
that
up
that's
there
gonna.
because We've lost the square footage that was gonna be here at King Street is going Elm Street. We need to make up for that. We need to make up for lost square footage from King Street.
Right.
On King Street, in the square footage for King Street was living quarters. There was some other things that you're not gonna need down at Elm Street.
That's true.
So you know, you're asking me whether it'll fit.
Yeah, because you're not gonna have living quarters here for an ambulance over there. So that's why I'm just
Yeah.
questioning.
Yeah, I'm very comfortable saying that it'll fit. I
Okay,
don't know how it'll flow. I don't know how it'll lay
Okay.
out,
no, I agree.
but it'll fit.
Okay.
And if it doesn't fit, then all of us should be fired.
But how does-
Maybe, you-
That would be that's a great point, yes.
I'm gonna have to put an addition on the building, it seems like. So if we got 11,000 to work with and fire needs 15.
Yeah, but fire.
Does that count?
It's
Does that
being skewed-
15
It's being skewed by the apparatus bay necessary for the ambulance. You know, we weren't tasked with going through
How much-
fire
Yeah.
and trying to squeeze every inch out of fire. We were tasked with doing that with
Right.
police.
How big is that ambulance bay square footage
It's an apparatus bay.
Apparatus.
for one vehicle?
Yeah.
So how many feet is that roughly?
Yeah. 20 by 40, it's probably 1,000. if I had to
18
guess.
feet wide,
Yeah.
by 40 feet long.
Yeah,
So you got to put a. So there has to be an.
900.
and then you got height,
So-
all works.
Then you got 900, you got travel space, you got a grossing factor, you're looking at 1,200, 1,300 square feet anyway. So you're down to marginable numbers. to
So you're gonna have to go to Board of Appeals anyway.
Yeah, but the one thing that we will save on is by not having vehicles located at King Street, we don't have to have the second day room, we don't have to have the
Yeah.
second
Right.
decontamination area. So those sorts of areas,
Yeah,
I think,
yeah.
saved. And in our initial design, when we designed Elm Street for the fire department, there were spaces for town offices left. And so if we took those over all for fire, potentially we could get the program to fit in the building.
Okay. So.
I stand by my
Without-
actual statement.
So right, they both don't fit, but we'll be able to.
You'll be able to get fired.
Fire there,
Mhm.
so I think that might be the answer, is that what you're thinking, Mark?
Yeah, I think,
Yeah.
I mean,
Right.
regardless of what the answer is,
Sound right, though, it has to be demonstrated.
yes, whether it fits or not, that's not the point I'm trying to make. We have to definitively show it.
Right.
Because we can't go into it being like, here's the plan for King Street. We think Elm is gonna fit. Like, we just
Well,
can't
we
do
al-
that.
We also don't have the appropriation,
Understood.
that task yet, but we probably will prior to February. So that
Correct.
that task will be done when it's time to outreach to the public. And this becomes,
Yeah, yes, exactly.
Okay, any other thoughts or discussion or questions about Elm? Okay, so let's move on to 135. What, this is not gonna sound right, but what are we trying to accomplish here? Because, and it's just a personal view, just hacking things off the building for the sake of hacking them off to say we hacked something off so we might have saved some money, I don't think it's the right way to plan. It's just not good practice. And I think that the big bang for the buck is figuring out how not to dig the bank off out here. And I know we spent a whole meeting one time, Paula, going over tackling options and stuff like that, but maybe we need to revisit that again with some other ideas or other higher look at it, because when you say you're going to take off 2 garage bays, that requires re-engineering, all sorts of professional things like that. And the construction costs, it's not a lot of dollars, probably. And we're minimizing our opportunity to live in the building for far into the future. We can say we don't need garage bays, but I'll tell you what, go down to the police station now, look in that garage and tell me in your own mind where you would put all that stuff. The stuff's not going to go away. You're not going to change the behavior of the department, how it works, how the people work there, because it's human nature. And these things have to happen. When we take space in that yellow area at Elm Street, what are you going to do with that Quonset that's there? Throw it away? And what about all the stuff that's in there? It's got to come here. So to take these high level things just based on arithmetic and square footages and graphics, it's not the whole story, seems to me. We have to take into account the real world. These are operating departments. These things happen. These spaces have to be provided. You know, we didn't put that Quonset hut back there for the fun of it. You know, we put it back there because the equipment's outside. It's not accessible in bad weather. It's not made to sit out in the weather. Yes, it's outside equipment, but it's not made to be stored out there. And you're going to say, well, for example, and I'm preaching to the choir now, well, why can't we keep this stuff at the DPW? Well, that's great, except when you need some of these emergency things, you don't have time to go down to the DPW, get the key, turn the light, do the thing. So that's why it was put there. So I just want to make sure we keep in mind that we just can't take some of these things and say they're mistakes and they shouldn't have been there, so we're getting rid of them. That's that. And then the other thing here is I think we need to focus harder on saving money on the site work. So anyway, so.
Can I just throw something? So with the calculations of the square footage, right? I see it as, I'm compartmentalizing it, right? You've got all the square footage in here in the programming that's relative to the garage vehicle areas and then everything else. So that everything else would be able to, in theory, be inside the footprint of the existing building. From a constructability standpoint, we can't convert the square footage that we have in the building right now to vehicle base. So basically they have to sort of be compartmentalized. We can't just look at it as an overall calculation and say X amount of square footage for the programming, and then we have a building that's X amount of square footage because any vehicle bays has to be a new addition. So I think that we've got to think about, well, what is the programming less the vehicle bays? And what is the size, what is the gross square footage of the existing building?
We also, I think you have to look at vehicle bays and prisoner detention.
Correct. Prisoner processing is all in the new section for a reason. All right? All of those walls are CMU walls on reinforced slabs and you know that when they built this building, none of that can be accommodated in this.
So we can't put CMU walls on this.
There is the potential to locate the detention area in this building. However, the constraint is it needs to be fairly immediately accessible to.
Understood, and agree, and that's fine. But I'm just saying, we can't retrofit the building to accommodate vehicles.
Correct.
That
We can retrofit the building to accommodate the detention, providing it's in the right proximity, the right layout.
Right.
There's asterisks there.
Yeah,
Get that.
we could harden the interior space.
But I'm just saying, from a high level, just from a pure calculation standpoint, what is programming that could in theory be in this building? Because my point is, at some point, it doesn't become any value to try and pull out programming because we're not going to make this existing building any smaller.
Well,
The building is what it is.
You are 100% correct that when you go from 22,000 square foot building or whatever this is exactly, we're going to have spaces that are going to be larger than that's on that program because we have the area to make them larger, and you're not going to have an empty space. You are correct. With regard to the addition side of the equation, if we do not put parking in the back, we have to pull that addition into the side. Otherwise, there'll be not enough parking. You'll have to use the side of this building, even though it's on a slope, for parking. You're not going to have enough parking. You just won't. We went through this exercise in phase 1, phase 1A, and phase 2. The other issue is the other addition, which is the fireside, which we used to call the fireside addition. We're practically building that anyway for retaining. And the reason we left it empty in the last round was because it was clear fire wasn't going to move there, but you were practically building it anyhow. Now, we haven't looked at the option of putting police down here and looking at this building and it completely flopped, because then in the long term, if you really do want a fire station in the Beechwood area, we've lost that ability to drive out and do that. So I think that the goals that we had set, which was 1, look at the programming. We did. And 2, look at Elm Street, get off the table. We did. The next step is for them to come back to us with options. And I think you guys got to direct us as what the options want. Like one of your options is try and get as much, try and segregate what can be in the building. Another option is going to be no parking in the back. All right. What happens if we have no parking in the back? I mean, I think those type of options we have to start looking at this point in time, and literally come back. Sorry, Paula, with 5 or 6 options. And see if we can pull and push this thing to work. The taxpayer said no to the ultimate solution. So we have to show something different.
And just to your question, Mark, the vehicle base is 1,200 square feet.
To each or combined.
Because we were planning on keeping 2 bays, we're only getting rid of 1, and the program, it's 1,200 square feet.
I keep coming back, and I don't know if this is a question for members of the committee or you, Dan. What is the goal here? Are we trying to pitch anything that we think the taxpayers will buy? Or are we trying to build a public safety building that's correct for what we have for these departments and what's correct for the community? Because just to say we're going to appease the voters by hacking something off, and half of what we hacked off, dollars and cents wise, we're going to spend in soft costs to redesign it. What are we doing here? So that's a question. What are we doing here before we go to the next thing? So do you want to start the discussion? And then I'm going to ask Eric.
Well, I don't think it's gonna be less money no matter what we do, based on the fact that, costs increased. I think we all knew that when we started here. I think, in the first meeting or two, Glenn, you had indicated, this was, your view was, we're short 400 votes, we need to switch 200 votes. Mark's view at the time, and correct me if I'm wrong, Mark, was no, the voters didn't like the plan, and the plan has to be different, and it has to constrict. I don't know that it was as much about money as it was about they didn't like it. There were very few comments about money at town meeting. You had the normal discussion about taxes and my taxes going up, but they talk about that when you're buying a stop sign. I just think that we have to decide what we want to do. I want to solve the problem of the existing police station and fire station. That's our goal.
I mean, I think you were right on both sides. I think you were right on, you could sell 200 more votes, right?
Right.
I think, I think you're right. My opinion is if we come back with the same project, they're going to go, what are you guys crazy? Did you not hear us?
Exactly.
Right. That doesn't mean Glenn's wrong. Right. And then the third was, even if we came back and miraculously made it cheaper than it was the last time, they'd still vote no. So possibly, yes. I mean, there's those people that you're just never going to satisfy, right? And
okay, so same question. I'm going to pass it around the room. What are we doing here?
What I'm hearing is that we didn't show the voters how Elm Street doesn't work. This presentation shows the voters how Elm Street doesn't work and all the possibilities and stuff like that. And I think what we've done so far is what I'm hearing that people want to look at and see. And that we need King Street for all the reasons that we've stated for the last 2.5 years.
What do you think we're doing here?
I don't think that it was rejected as much. It was the money total as much as the process.
Agreed. 10 million.
I think if clearly Elm Street has failed. The building is just completely failed. This building seems like a decent solution. The town owns it. It's going to be a lot cheaper than building something new. I think a thorough explanation of what happened, refreshing the plan always helps. Look, we went back and took another look. This is really the best we can do. We can't make it any smaller. This is this is a modern functioning department. I think that's really the answer for me anyways, is that it wasn't so much the money as the process.
Yeah.
Well, I think one of our charges was to put Elm Street to bed, so to speak. And I think the presentation that Paula did and everything, I think clearly shows that Elm Street isn't gonna work. So we have answered one of our charges. Now, what we want to do is go out and convince everybody that your best option is 135 King. And the cost associated with that, and the fact that we looked at other places, like everywhere along 3A, we looked at the lots, we have some ideas of what it would cost here. And I don't think the original turning down of the station was so much the cost as the original, that $10 million is coming back to bite you in the ass. That's what everybody remembers. I think if that wasn't there to begin with, I have a feeling we would have passed the vote for the special election, if that wasn't there. I've talked to many people around town. I haven't met one person who said, we don't need this. Everybody has said, we need a new station. Based on the 62 years old for the police and fire station, it has to be upgraded. I think everybody agrees to that. So it comes down to the cost for 135 King versus that 10 million originally. So our goal from here, in my mind, is to sell everybody that this is the best deal financially. And it's the best deal because we looked at A, B, C, and D. That's, like I said, I think we got half of it done because we get the fire station settled.
Yeah.
You know, that's gonna go there. So now we gotta sell the police up here.
Doug?
I'm similarly optimistic that we can still do what I think is the right thing, but what we failed to do was disprove the other theories that it could be done elsewhere, and to prove out that the big sticker shock is a defendable number that made sense. So we got it, you know, we had the public it was trust. So I think that's our main task, is to rebuild the trust, to say, we got bad news. We did have a good plan. We didn't waste your money on a bad plan.
Yeah.
But now we can show you why it costs that much and prove that we didn't look at other things. So that I say I'm optimistic that we can still do the right thing, which was the plan we came up with, but we have to go about it this different way.
What's that?
I agree with Dan, exactly what he said. I think we are so hindered by the past number that was thrown out there, the 10 million, and we've got to work back from that and redevelop our credibility. And absent that, focus on what you said, which is this is the best plan. We can refine it, we can minimize some of the items, but this is really the only thing that we have in front of us, and we should go forward.
But proving that we did try to go, like going from 17,000 to 15,000, we did our homework, we did it. And we could do that, but maybe that isn't a smart thing because we want to be ready for the future. You know?
We built it today.
Yeah, you know, when I got married, we didn't buy one bed, we bought two. We thought we'd have kids someday. So what is the right decision now? You know?
What's six?
Nate, are you there? Nate?
Yeah. Hi, Glenn. I'm here. Not for much longer. I have to drop for an 11 o'clock meeting here shortly. I agree with Mr. Pilata, right? If we continue to do the same things and run in circles, we're going to be looking at getting the same results. So we do have to do something differently. But what I don't agree with is presenting new options. I just don't think the town and the citizens are going to do real well if we present them with a smorgasbord of here's 10 different options and here's what it would look like with a bay, without a bay, if there was parking in the back or if there's not parking in the back. I think what they want instead is to know that we've exhausted all options. And I think that's what a lot of people at the table are saying. So not to present new options, but to exhaust all viable options. And that's the process that will get us closer to presenting what is the one true best and correct solution for our police and fire. And then last thing I'll say, I just think there's a bandwidth issue, and people have, difficulty kind of absorbing all the information we're putting in front of them. And, I think it would go a long way if we just kind of present it more like a private real estate deal when you buy a home and you get comparables and what other towns are doing in an easy to read and digestible format, what the costs are, what that looks like over time. I know that we've tried to do a lot of those things, but it's been pieced together. So if we can just bring all of that together in a more organized fashion to present it to people, here's the decision that we've made as a group. You can poke holes in it all you want, but you can't poke any holes in it that we haven't done already. I think that's the key.
Okay, thanks, Mark.
I agree with Nate and not presenting too many options, but showing the options that we have worked through.
I didn't mean to.
Yeah, no.
Public, I meant out.
Well, no, I mean, to be able to, I think to be able to show the public the options that we have gone through, to show our work, to say, Elm Street doesn't work, right? And maybe even for, I know the select board directed us on the single story, maybe even just square footage wise, if it was a second story on the police side, the existing police side, what is that? I just feel like that question's going to come. And
I mean, if
I'm not-
if that question comes, then it's a simple answer. You don't have to study it. We have to knock the building down and rebuild it.
okay,
Because the structure doesn't accommodate loads of 2 floors.
sure. I think to really, to help build the trust, I think we need to have DD level drawings with a cost estimate for both buildings to be, and I know that isn't gonna hold, and then we've got to escalate that,
We're not gonna get the DD level drawings on it.
I think it's going to, I see that, but I think it's going to be problematic because we're gonna find ourselves in the same situation that we don't have drawings for Elm Street. We don't have an estimate of what it's gonna cost, and we're asked,
It'll be at SD.
okay, it'll be at SD. And we don't have, and we're going to be coming back to the voters again. And it's not helping us build the level of trust to get past this issue of the 10. It's just not. It's re-inviting, you guys got it wrong again.
Well, I don't think, if I may be blunt,
Yeah,
Please,
try it.
we welcome it.
the guilty party is no longer with the town. And that has not been sufficiently advertised to the residents that where the 10 million came from. All right, that employee no longer works for the town. And that needs to be relayed and reinforced to help build the trust. I also think that we should go forward with the options just to get everybody comfortable, what will and won't fit between now and our next meeting in 2 weeks. That Paula gets to work on those things so that we're moving forward. And in between that period or shortly thereafter, we should meet with the Board of Selectmen and take Elm off the street publicly with the Board of Selectmen as one of their charges. Get it off the table, stop the distraction. Now, coming back to it is a different issue of designing 135 King Street. Coming back to it for fire, we need the appropriation. So until we have the appropriation, we need to take it off the plate. It has to stop renting space in all of our heads, and so we can focus on this job. Just my opinion.
I appreciate it. I just don't think the masses are going to buy into that without being able to see the full picture.
And you might be correct. I mean, you know the masses better than I do. It's your town.
Are you suggesting that the plan be the total cost of both Elm and?
I think we need to say the cost of, if assuming that the plan was police here, fire there, right? I would say we need to provide the cost for here. And we need to provide what the estimate in current day dollars is for Elm, and then escalate that up and show this is our plan. This is our plan. This is what we expect. Because right now, what I think we're saying is, here's our plan for King Street, and trust us that we'll get Elm Street right. That's what I feel like we're saying.
You actually are saying that, and we don't have the backing to say, trust us.
You could, yes.
But with the 150, we can get to that trust level with defendable data. We can't get there. We're not allowed to. We're prohibited.
I understand that. I understand that. I'm just saying,
But
that's what I think we're up against.
we are up against, both buildings have to be talked about at the same time. Because
I agree.
this is the last shot at getting public safety, no matter what department it is, for 25 years, because they'll just forget it, that's it, don't care. And that'll be the end of that. So we have to do that. The Chief.
We need a cost estimate to do everything at Elm Street.
Right.
I believe that number is going to be higher than this building and our last go around. But we have to show the public that. And besides ripping down the building, we have to put into the estimate, where do we bring the police department during that 2-year period to meet all the demands are required of the department to keep the town safe? That's going to be a big number. I figured it out at, for 2 years, $5 or $6 million.
You mean fire?
What?
You mean fire?
Well, I'm just saying police or the whole facility. And that's going to be on top of the construction cost. And I think we got to explain that. Am I getting it right?
Temporary relocation.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think we need to show the whole picture.
Okay.
Yeah.
Show that picture.
Yeah.
Temporary location.
And people need to understand that, and which most sane and reasonable people will. We don't know what construction is going to cost exactly 3 years from now. But if we show it in today's dollars, and if we show a trajectory to get us to where we think it might be, then people can't accuse us of not giving them the best, most useful information with what we have. None of us have a crystal ball. So I think that that is a lot better of a story to tell than just say, trust us, because they already don't.
So to keep the ball moving forward, okay? To accomplish what you are asking, I need the appropriation. Okay? I need permission to use the appropriation. I'll leave it at that. Because we don't have the funds to work on Elm Street.
We know that, we know that.
So could we put together a schedule that says, okay, from now till November, we're focusing on the components that we can tool to make this the project that we plan to bring back, whether it's got changes or not.
Yeah.
Just take the time that we have right now between now and November and sort this building out, knowing the direction where we're going over there, which is that's fire. And then in November, we get the appropriation that we need for fire. We go through, we get to DDs there, and then we come back for the whole package.
So are you?
And I know that that's different.
So now you're asking to delay from February to May.
But I'm just asking, but I'm just asking, is it May? Like I'm not saying we should, I'm just saying we need to know what that is. Because the select board throws dates out there as if they know how long these things take to do, right? But we keep saying we don't have the money to spend over there, understood. And we think we're going to come back and not give the voters the whole picture and be successful. I just don't see that happening.
So I think the solution to the problem is that at your special town meeting in October or November, you get the funds that have already been allocated, transferred to us to be used.
Mm-hmm.
And we don't do a DD level estimate. We do a programmatic estimate. And we come in with a programmatic estimate in February for Elm Street and a DD level or a robust SD level estimate.
Sure.
For King Street, I think we'll be okay. I think we'll be able to, I think that will be bulletproof enough. In my opinion, you may disagree in that, that's fine. You like I said, your town. But that can be accomplished. I can do a schedule to show that can be accomplished. I'll just need the date of the town meeting. But we still have intertwined with all of that is outreach. Getting the data together for other fire stations and police stations as requested by one of them, Nate, I think it was. Putting together the outreach plan, meeting with the selectmen, tell them that Elm Street doesn't work for both facilities, it's off the table. We're tabling it until you guys release the 150. Those things need to be communicated to the Board of Selectmen in a public setting so that the public knows we're working on this. Every time we go before the Board of Selectmen, it is free advertising.
Right.
That's my opinion.
Yeah, right. Okay, so what do you think we're doing here?
Just sitting here listening to everybody, there is a consensus. I think, I think one of the first things we should do is immediately get on a select board agenda and talk about Elm Street, the work that's gone into it, the due diligence that's been done, and why, it's not a good idea, why it won't work. Be front and center in the meeting and just put that to bed. So that, take that bucket, push it aside, the public can chew on that for the rest of the summer.
Yes.
And then you'll move forward with like Dan and Don said, just with the program here at King Street, if it's the original plan, it's the original plan. When I say original plan, minus the fires, do it the shell of the,
It might be the original. I think we owe it to the public to look at other things other than the original plan. I think would be,
Right.
I do.
Right, but we need to make them understand. We looked at it, and the reason we didn't do something you think might be good is because the cost of redoing what's already been designed offsets any savings. So what's the point? We're shooting ourselves in the foot to say we saved money, which we didn't.
you're getting less of a project
Right.
for the same price, maybe more.
That's
Or more, yeah.
right.
When you call it the temporary, relocation.
Well, I mean, we talk about, temporary relocation. That's great. It could cost $7 million, but where's it going?
Where's it gonna be? Yeah.
There's no
Well,
place
that's-
to put it.
Sandy Beach.
Not-
No
Get
parking.
the line straight.
Chief Cochran.
Yeah, so a couple things, obviously, police and fire, we can't work out of going for the future, needs for the town, so. The best bet would be the police to move up here at 135 Gage. And give us 44 Elm Street. So a couple of things about the $10 million cost. There are currently 3 fire stations by headquarters that are being built in South Shore. Abington, Pembroke, Rock, they're all under construction right now. Their projects were approved in 2020 and 2023 at the town meeting. And their square foot costs is about $1,000 a square foot, okay?
That's good.
That's good, yes. One's 900, one's 1,000, one's 1,300, whatever. And I think we can use, hopefully, we go to spell out this project, is that reason why $10 million doesn't fit is because in today's market, it's $1,000 a square foot to do the work. And then it's not, this project, if approved, isn't gonna start until 2 years out or 18 months out. So we don't know what the cost of goods is, what the cost of services, because we don't know what's going on in this world economy right now. So I think that's the other thing too, is to spell why 10 million doesn't work is because the cost of square footage to do the work is a big issue.
10 million doesn't work because it's.
I know that.
You had an opportunity to buy a building and they threw it down.
I know that.
Let's call it what it is.
But to say we got the square footage to do any kind of work in these buildings is starting at $1,000. So, but yeah, we definitely need, the public safety, police and fire, we're done operating out of Elm Street. We're 1,000 pounds in a 5-pound bag. You know, it's
Of wheat.
whatever you want to put it. You know, we're bursting to get the seams. This town has been expanding since my folks moved here in '79. I've seen this town expand big time with commercial development 3A, the numerous housing projects in this town. And we've expanded the schools, the DPW, the sewer. And And now it's time for us to meet the needs of the community.
There's another apartment building that's proposed at 132 CJC in front of the gym, South Shore Athletic. On that blank parcel of land where the parking lot is, that's a pad to build. The
Right,
thoughts of putting a fire station there
Yeah.
someday, but that's
So-
gonna be an apartment building. It's
So-
planning now.
So there's a part
Right by the train station?
Show you a picture
We need to get on the selectmen's agenda
immediately.
immediately and show them Elm Street doesn't.
Thank you.
I mean, and then I guess it's the first charge, and then it allows the committee and everyone else to move forward.
How soon can we get on the agenda?
July 28th.
Where?
July 28th.
July 28th is the next meeting.
I think having the selectmen, this, I mean, ultimately, this, I think this has to come from the selectmen. They have to support it, and push it. And because if they don't support it, like all the town hall projects that we've had, there's always been division. If they're not willing to push it,
Oh, wow.
it's not gonna,
What are we, I missed, what are we pushing?
going to the selectmen.
We wanna-
Oh, the ultimate, whatever plan there is, they need to be on board with us. On board with the plan, because if they're not in support of the
No, right,
project.
Unanimously,
Right.
Yeah,
unanimous, not split.
okay,
We have the support of the majority.
so,
right.
okay, so what we were going around was, I was trying to get to is like, what are we doing here, 135 King Street? Are we just gonna concentrate on showing what we've considered and explaining how we got here? Or are we just gonna take some arbitrary, program change and say, we did this? Which isn't gonna save us any money, so then how do you explain we made these changes, but it's still the same price? Aren't we better to spend more time explaining why cutting things off doesn't help?
Glenn, if we go back with the same, design, it's gonna be more money. And you're gonna get crucified for bringing the same plan with more money. Right? It's automatically gonna be more money.
Where's the crossover point? Where's the crossover point where, what do we have to cut out to stay even? And what did we gain by doing that?
I don't think that you have to cut anything out. I think we have to go through the process to show that we tried to cut everything out.
Oh, that's what I'm
And
saying.
then go back to the voter and say, we honored your wishes, unfortunately, it's costing us $1.8 million more. Because we lost a year and Paula cost too much money and.
That's right.
And that's it.
I would rather have that fight than to build a building that's wrong.
Exactly.
Really, but we have to go through the process. That was our charge with the selectmen.
So we did go through the process.
Right.
I
would
think
suggest
the
we
only,
take
I
next
think
2
the
weeks.
only, again, for somebody, I think the only place we're gonna get any substantial noticeable savings, because we don't have to do much re-engineering, is not dig into that back end. And I know we've spent an entire meeting talking about parking, but maybe that's another whack.
I agree with you that we can work a solution that doesn't use that in the back. But the sacrifice is parking. And it'll get to a point where if we say we do take one bay off, we knew that we had 3 bays. I think originally we needed 2. But my recollection on was the 3rd bay would square off the building and actually would. Whether it was like this or like that, it was the same cost, so you took the 3rd bay, but if we get rid of that 3rd bay. And we put the parking there, do we have enough? Those are the type of exercises that Paula and I have to do over the next couple of weeks and come back with some diagrams for everybody to look at. We're not gonna have numbers, we're
Right.
not gonna be able to say this costs more, that we're not saving you $58. We'll at least be able to say the program works on scheme 15.1, not on 16B. Do you follow what I'm saying?
Take into
I
account.
do, but I have a
also,
question.
take it-
Is there a construction solution where, and I think we talked about this at one point, it's all up for at this point, but we could put some type of parking platform over the leaching field up front?
Yes.
So that was, Selectman Ashton asked that at one time. It was very cost prohibitive. And we ran into the state right away, which is a 2-year permitting problem.
Well, what about like not going out as far?
then it doesn't.
then you don't gain the.
No, we
20
did that
feet you
study.
need
I
to
can
have
send you the
full
sketch
space.
again, but
It's,
it's not.
to me, I keep coming back to that 20-foot strip of land that Avalon owns besides 20 feet. How long is a parking space? 18 feet or something like that?
18 or 20.
20.
Okay, so we have a long strip there that may give us some spaces. Yes, I know there's grades and walls and stuff, but at least we're not digging into that hill. Filling in is going to be easier than digging into that hill probably. So we have to consider that strip too, I think, and maybe we did. in
It's
that-
20
that day.
feet?
It's 20 feet wide. So I
Because
don't,
for a parking space, you need 20 feet for the space and 24 feet.
Or for the little tile.
no, I know, but
So-
we're adding that to what we already have. That's what I keep saying. Can it help us as square footage to do something?
You're gonna have to accept in any solution that does not include the back, that parking for the police and parking for impound is not traditional parking. Only visitor parking will be traditional parking, meaning adequate turn. You're gonna be having stacked parking for police. You're gonna be moving cars and things like that. It's not gonna be open. But we probably can get enough spaces.
Hmm.
I know, it's on the chief's face.
The cost.
I was just thinking like what happens when it snows, us moving cars.
The cost.
Hey, Larry, I
There's
gotta
gonna be
go
more
out.
to it.
Move your-
It's gonna be cheaper to dig out the back of the hill than to go out to that 20 feet.
I don't think so.
No, it wouldn't, Glenn. When we studied it the last time, we looked at parking all on site.
Yeah.
We looked at parking where the fire substation was. We looked at using the easement on the adjacent site to go up to the back. We looked at putting parking out the front, and the parking out the front had a lot of issues, and you'd gain like 10 spaces. It wasn't.
All I'm trying to say is that, I'm trying to say is that the quantifiable saving that you can show that you don't have to re-engineer much is not taking out all that dirt. Not taking out all the dirt requires less engineering than it requires to rearrange the building and the mechanical, seems to me. So that's why I'm just saying, I wonder if we look at that again harder as a bigger bang for the buck. That way, it's part of our sell. This made more sense than chopping off,
But do it or don't do it, your idea, you have to explore it.
Right.
I have to leave, I just want to leave
Yeah.
one thought.
Yeah.
My overall theme is that I'm more optimistic than the crucifixion you're suggesting might happen. If the truth is, this was the right project, I really do think we failed to, as Nate said, exhaust all the other options. That's where I think we failed, where it was, don't tell me I'm gonna spend 28 million when I hear whispers you could have done this elsewhere.
Yeah.
If we really dismiss every possible option, we can't do it at Elm, we present a logical term and round numbers of what's gonna happen there, and see it has to happen here, we gotta bite the bullet. I think that's where this is gonna wind up.
I do too.
So I'd rather not see a bad project and try to do something that's half-assed, and that's my closing
And we
thought.
did exhaust all of the options.
But we-
did a terrible job of explaining.
Communicating it, yeah, and we can't make it look like we faked it, we're sticking with the same damn plan. We really have to go through things. We looked at value engineering the site. We did go there and starting with the select board meeting to say, we're doing what we've been asked to do.
Yeah.
And
That's
regain
reasonable.
some of that trust, primarily with professional opinion, which is why I asked, this 15,000 feet, that is the bare minimum from a professional working on this. And we have a professional opinion that we can't put a second floor on. It's not just us saying so. And really falling back in professional opinion and data. And that's why I think these diagrams are fantastic, the 100 pounds in a 50-pound bag.
Right. It's pretty easy to see.
And then people might say, I'm optimistic. Okay, they've proven it. I hate this number, but this has to happen.
Right.
So I gotta run.
Thank you.
I'm late for the 11th. So
Thank you.
yeah, see you guys.
Yeah.
Is this the question you asked us about what are we doing here? And it seems like everybody kind of has a sense of what's going on, and we're in pretty narrow options. Should we get a sense from the selectmen what they think?
We
Because
did, it's the charge.
no, I understand that, but at this point, so we've done the Elm Street thing and say, it seems like no matter what, we're not gonna save a whole lot of money. In even the best case. So should we explain to them, this is the situation? We can have a good project that will be largely very similar. Or do we need to sharpen the pencils and really grind it down to the minimum? What do they want? I'm not in favor of the minimum plan, I don't think it's the right thing for the town, but
I think that if we went back to them and said, what do they really want? That would frustrate them and they'd say, God damn it, we told you what to do. We gave you the charge and this is your second time around. You guys go home, we'll get someone else. I don't think that would be
okay.
However, I think we go in and say, okay, we did Elm Street. We want to give you periodic updates. We did Elm Street. Here's the deal. And then get to that discussion about here. We're looking at this. What are you talking about for money? Because it might not happen. And,
Yeah.
give them the two updates are Elm on the table. Here's where we're going with what we have already. And it's probably not looking like everybody wants. Maybe that's the kind of thing we present to
Yeah,
them.
right,
Yeah.
okay.
One of the other things too is I think, you and me and John Dockery and the committee stays away from presenting. It's got to be the licensed professional that presents that this is why Elm Street is.
Right.
Yes.
Not possible.
Yes. Let us do our job. And let us go before the board. Let us explain why Elm Street doesn't work and that we believe we completed task number 1. And that we're working diligently on options for passes 2, 3, and 4.
Yep.
And just give them an update.
Yeah.
And say, and by the way, we're gonna come back in 2 or 3 months with another update.
With another, yeah.
Yeah.
And then we're gonna be meeting bi-weekly until we get this done.
And then, ask the board to take a vote that, we officially move on from the Elm Street.
Yeah.
Both
Yeah.
places.
Yeah.
And then, but put them on notice that what they've seen, maybe what,
Yeah, and just say, this,
Actually,
do we want to save $1 million and have a substandard?
Yeah, it's all being.
So what,
right?
I mean, it's,
Another couple of years.
yeah. I mean, and,
Yes.
Oh, I'm sorry.
no, go.
No, was part of the selectmen's charge to finally move away from the fact that there were alternative sites that we didn't look at?
No, that wasn't.
But that should be
What
one
we're
of
gonna do, we
the.
have that information now.
But I'm wondering if we should just have that said, we did this and get that.
Yes,
So we
as part of, yeah,
answer that question. and
right,
get
right,
it
I
out.
think you're right. When we get on our table, then we say, now here are things that are off the table also, the other site.
But do you have like do you have, Charlotte or whoever's in
We have-
charge of
Yeah,
Yeah, we
that-
did that.
we have it all.
You did that.
We have it.
No, I'm just saying, have her present, that's why
Oh.
this is a problem, that this site is a.
No, it'd be more of a planning board presentation, I think. I don't think we wanted that. I think we can show it factually.
Just show it conceptually.
Yeah,
And the other thing too, as long as we keep going in front of the board of select board. They can't say we didn't do a good job of communicating this project, because a lot of people watch the select board meeting. And that was one of the things that were supposedly we didn't do a good job of communicating it. We had forums throughout the town, people didn't come and all that stuff. But if we go in front, keep an update in front of the board, I think that will help in the communication process too.
okay.
So for the next meeting, Glenn, we're gonna work on some adjacencies and programming and high-level bubble diagrams of how this fits on this site. We'll put together a quick PowerPoint for the selectmen because it'll be the same day as this meeting. So if they're meeting on the 28th, you're gonna need to send them an email requesting that we be on the agenda. Which you can do, and then we'll put together a good solution for
Elm Street,
it. Yep,
okay.
but we need to meet the same day or the day before, the day after, to keep the ball rolling on 35K. We must keep moving.
Okay, so where are we starting on 135 King in your view?
In our view, I think what we have to do is, I personally think we have to look at a solution without digging out the back. I happen to think that if you don't dig out the back, there's a solution there with the side, whether it's your 20 feet or not your 20 feet. Crappy parking for the actual police department. I still think you're gonna solve I think you solve the problems of the operations of the department.
So don't dig out the back?
No,
I think that's one of the options.
but stop right there for 1 second. We were talking about, maybe we cut something off and you put an outbuilding or addition on later, blah, blah, blah. Maybe we know we have crappy parking solution now, and that's the for later thing. You go and dig out more parking instead of doing something with the building, you do something with the site.
Ask me what I would do.
Yeah.
I would build the fire station. I wouldn't build it as a fire station, I'd build it raw.
Correct.
I'd use one bay for storage for the ambulance, which solves the square footage problem at Elm Street. I'd leave the other bay for, with a chain link fence around it for impound, for evidence. And I'd pull back that Sally Port to one bay and create as much space possibly there. That's what I would do.
So Sally Port and one bay.
Even just the Sally Port.
No, you need,
Right.
you can't, you need another
They
bay.
need the second bay.
I could see,
If you have the garage over here, which we have to build, why do we need another bay?
because when you put the fire substation there, then when are you gonna put the
When you put
police?
the fire station up there, you and I are gonna be old men.
All of us. will-
It doesn't matter. Well, at least we will know we did the right thing for the town.
Yeah, I think that station.
Maybe you watch them from sunrise.
Don't put me in the room.
So,
Well,
well, you'll be up in memory care, so. All right, so what we're saying is, we're gonna start concentrating on this building at the next meeting.
Right.
We'll have Elm Street.
We'll have some sketches for us to kick around. So Mark can dissect some sketches next week.
All right.
And I'll bring back the parking study.
Again, on this again, I know we look,
Everybody in this
yeah,
committee
yeah.
can see what was done.
right. Well, we remember the meeting, but probably don't remember the details, so that'll be good.
And the other thing, I know they're digging next door and I know it's atrocious looking and they've probably hit some problems next door because I see that they've done some shotcrete on the wall back there. It's a different project. We were tiered. They aren't tiered this year. I don't think you can equate the two together other than the material's crap. The material here is gonna be crap. We know we have to get rid of the material here. It was always factored in to be disposed of,
No, I agree, yeah,
right?
okay, so
Cause that'll come up too.
what?
Oh, once we go back to the back, if we go back to the back, someone's gonna stand and say, well, I talked to the developer building the storage units and they had a lot of problems.
Right,
Are we gonna have a lot of problems?
we're gonna have the answer for that.
And just one of the other things, if you do not dig out the back. Police operations, the current way it's laid out is on the second
Right.
floor.
No, we know that. That's why we have to we have to look at it.
Okay.
I'm not trying to create work, but I think we have to go through the exercise.
No, I'm just so it's on your radar.
Yeah, I think we just have to demonstrate that the reason we came up with the plan that we have is because it works the best. So show the different studies of what the possibilities would be and what those would entail.
If you do away with the gym, the officers will use the stairs to get to the second floor.
So, okay, so we know with that, we're gonna work on this one. The next meeting will be on the 28th. Now, we wanna do days or evenings,
I was gonna suggest you do a day meeting again, even though we're gonna alternate.
and then you wanna try to get the selectmen.
Cause I only have to select in that.
Yeah, yeah, okay. Okay, is everybody okay with that? 28th at 10 o'clock? What day? Is that a Tuesday?
Tuesday.
No, I can't.
Okay.
You make it, Mark?
No.
Perfect.
Just call me Ralph.
Okay, anything else in this before we jump and approve some minutes?
Priceless. That was good.
Nothing? Okay, could I have a motion to approve the minutes of the meetings of June 25th, May 27th, and June 17th?
I make a motion to approve.
Second,
I second.
okay, all in favor?
I can do roll call online. Roll call online.
Let's Friday.
I'll figure it out.
What?
Roll call. With a roll call vote.
Oh, yeah, I approve.
Gonna say.
Dan Duffy.
Dan.
Rich Fitzpatrick, aye.
Donald Fausto approved.
Glenn Pratt, aye. Okay, is there anything else before we adjourn?
No.
A motion to adjourn,
I make a motion to adjourn.
second,
I approve.
all in favor?
Aye.
Aye, okay.
Thank you, Chris. A lot of paperwork. Being the ending, the lady, that is that used to Moss.
No, none whatsoever. That's, my entire family came from where you were. Charles.
Yeah.
Well, Charles and I. It's not close enough.
We're all gonna have.
I couldn't afford it.
You know what's interesting?
Yeah, I know.
Thanks, Mark. Take care.
The old Sullivan Square station down through Thompson Square. Oh, yeah. You know, people don't even remember.
I used to tell people the elevator.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They go to the elevator.
That went good. That went faster than I thought it was gonna go. It's a lot of material.
Yeah.
The T